Agnes and Janet were two women who had gone through a lot in life. They were both widows, and sadly, neither of them had children to call their own. Life was very hard for them, and they lived in a small village in two tiny huts side by side. Their huts were old, made from mud and thatched roofs, but they called it home because it was all they had. They were the best of friends, more like sisters. Wherever you saw Janet, you would surely see Agnes beside her. They did everything together. In the morning, they would walk to the stream to fetch water. In the afternoon, they would sit under a tree, talking and laughing about the little joys and pains of life. And when it was time to go and work, they would go together, holding their worn-out baskets and farming tools. Agnes and Janet didn't have jobs of their own. Instead, they worked on people's farms to earn small money. They would spend hours under the hot sun, weeding, planting, and harvesting crops for people in the village. Sometimes they were paid with a few naira, and sometimes they were given food items like yam, cassava, or a handful of beans. But no matter how much they worked, the money they earned was never enough. Most times they went to bed hungry or with just a small plate of soup made from leaves they plucked in the bush. Their clothes were old and torn, but they always tried to look neat and clean. Yet, even with all the struggles and suffering, Agnes and Janet never gave up hope. They always encouraged each other. "One day, our story will change," Agnes would say. "God is still watching us," Janet would reply with a smile. They had strong faith in God. Every night before they slept, they would kneel beside their beds, holding hands, and pray. They believed that one day something good would happen. They believed they would overcome their condition and live a better life. People in the village admired their friendship. "Look at Agnes and Janet," they would say. "Even in their suffering, they are full of joy and peace." Some people even came to them for advice because they were known for their kind hearts and wise words. Though poor and lonely, Agnes and Janet were rich in something money could not buy: true friendship, love, and hope. One hot afternoon, after working all morning on a neighbor's farm, Janet and Agnes sat under their favorite tree to rest. The tree was big and shady, standing near a quiet footpath outside their village. That was where they always sat to talk about life, share their worries, and laugh over old memories. As they wiped the sweat from their faces, Janet looked at Agnes and sighed deeply. "My friend," she said, "we need to think of something better to do with our lives. This farm work is not helping us at all. Every day we suffer in the sun, bending our backs and working like young girls, yet the money we get is too small to feed us properly or even buy good clothes." Agnes nodded slowly, her face serious. "Janet, you are right. I have been thinking about the same thing too. We are getting older. Our bodies can't take this kind of stress much longer. We need something that brings in more money with less suffering." Janet turned to her. "So what do you think we can do? We don't have shops, and we don't have any capital to start business. What other work can old women like us do?" Agnes looked around carefully to make sure no one was nearby. Then she leaned closer and whispered, "There's a kind of work I heard about. Some women say it brings quick money, and you don't need to go to anyone's farm or carry heavy loads." Janet's eyes widened. "What kind of work is that, Agnes?" Agnes lowered her voice even more and said, "My friend, it's hookup business." Janet was confused at first. "Hookup business?" she asked. "What do you mean by that?" Agnes cleared her throat. "It's about using what we have to get what we want. Some women use their body to make money. I know it sounds strange, but they say it pays very well. Some older women are doing it and living like queens now. They wear fine clothes, eat good food, and even travel from place to place." Janet was shocked. She looked at Agnes with disbelief. "But Agnes, we are old women. Our bodies are weak, our skins are wrinkled. Can we really do that kind of business? Are we not going to die trying?" Agnes smiled softly. "My friend, I used to think that way too. But from what I heard, age is not the problem. Some men like older women, and this business doesn't need too much strength. We just need to package ourselves well and go to the right places. I believe it will favor us." Janet sat quietly for a while. She looked at her wrinkled hands and thought of all the pain they had passed through. Then she looked at Agnes. "If you say it will help us," she said slowly, "then I will follow you. I don't want us to die in poverty." Agnes held her hand and smiled. We will be fine. We just need to start small. You will see, our lives will change." And so, under that old tree where they always shared their pain, the two women agreed to enter a new chapter of their lives, a path they had never imagined they would walk. One fateful evening, Agnes and Janet dressed up in the best clothes they had. They had powdered their faces and wore long wrappers with matching blouses, tying their headscarves neatly. Their hearts were filled with hope, thinking that this new, hook-up business would finally bring them good money. Agnes had gotten a connection to a young rich man who lived in a beautiful mansion not far from town. "He likes older women," the person told her. "And he pays well, very well." Agnes and Janet agreed to go, believing that this might be their breakthrough. "We'll just go, enjoy ourselves, and get paid," Agnes said with confidence. "Let's try once and see what comes out of it." That night, they arrived at the man's mansion. The house was huge and shining, with bright lights and sweet-smelling flowers in front. Everything looked perfect. The man welcomed them politely, smiling sweetly and offering them red wine. The living room was big and decorated like a hotel. Agnes and Janet were impressed. As they sat on the sofa sipping wine and chatting, the young man excused himself to go upstairs and change. "Let me freshen up a little before we continue," he said with a grin. After a few minutes, he came back down the stairs, but this time he wore only a towel tied around his waist. Agnes and Janet looked at him, and suddenly they saw something that froze their hearts. Dangling from his waist wasn't a normal man's body. It was a snake. A large, thick, black snake slithered and moved where his manhood was supposed to be. The snake hissed and flicked its tongue as it swayed back and forth. Janet screamed. Agnes dropped her glass of wine. "Jesus!" they both shouted at once. They jumped to their feet and ran toward the door, shouting, "We are doomed. We are finished. Please leave us alone. We didn't know." The man, now revealing his true nature, laughed darkly and began to chase after them. "Where are you going? Come back and finish what you came for," he shouted. But Agnes and Janet ran with all the strength left in their old legs. They didn't stop to look back. Their slippers flew off as they dashed into the night, barefoot, panting and crying, their wrappers almost falling off. Finally, they reached their small huts, pushed open the doors, and locked them tight behind them. They collapsed on the floor, breathing hard and sweating. "God has saved us," Janet cried. "Ha! I will never try this again," Agnes shouted, her hands on her head. The two friends held each other and began to pray, thanking God for saving them from shame and sudden death. That night, they realized the truth. Agnes turned to Janet with teary eyes and said, "My friend, this life of hookup is not for us. That snake man could have killed us." Janet nodded. "This is a warning from God. Let us never try this again. Let us continue with our small farm work. One day, our blessing will come in a clean and peaceful way." From that day, Agnes and Janet swore never to follow the path of easy money again. They returned to their simple lives, grateful to be alive. They believed that as long as they were alive, there was hope. They trusted that God would never forget them, and one day, their story would change for the better. Moral lessons. 1. Be content with what you have while working towards a better life. 2. Easy money often comes with dangerous traps. 3. Don't let poverty push you into things that can cost your life. 4. Trust in God's timing. Your blessing will come in a clean way. 5. True friendship and faith can guide you through life's hardest times. Thank you so much for watching this touching and powerful story of Agnes and Janet. Their journey teaches us the importance of patience, wisdom, and faith. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to my channel, like, and share this video with your friends and loved ones. There are many more interesting, emotional, and moral-filled stories coming your way. Stay connected, stay inspired, and stay blessed. God bless you.